Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you.
Oh no, where's mine?
It's right there. Welcome to You're My Friend and I Trust You.
It's a podcast
about kazoos.
Strictly about kazoos.
What we do is we review kazoos. We buy them in bulk from various sources and...
Not in America, though.
Yeah, only foreign kazoos, not domestic kazoos.
Yes.
That's what we do.
Your waveform is just so much bigger than mine.
I see that. I'll fix it in post.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
All right.
What you drinking there?
Bengal spice tea.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What makes it Bengal? Is there a tiger in there?
I hope.
Tiger blood?
Gives me, yes, the heart of a tiger.
What happened to Charlie Sheen? What's he up to?
He's AIDS free now.
Is he?
Yeah. Of course, I think he was just HIV. I don't think it was full-blown AIDS.
Isn't AIDS incurable?
Yes, but somehow he went to Mexico and got cured.
I'd love to know that story.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
It's his tiger blood, probably.
Probably.
The AIDS couldn't handle it.
No. AIDS stood no chance. Is it appropriate to laugh about AIDS?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
We could ask a third party, get a second opinion.
We could.
If it's appropriate to laugh.
She's in the
about
medical
AIDS.
field.
She is. Kind of.
Kind of.
She is a gorgeous redhead. She's sitting right here at our table.
Welcome to our table.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be at this table.
Turn you up a little bit there.
Am I too quiet? I could talk
That's good.
louder.
Now we're good.
Now you're showing up.
I'll fix it all in post.
I'm going to say a general no to laughing at AIDS.
It's probably a good call.
At no point in time can I laugh at AIDS.
I would say no.
Lincoln assassination just became funny. So
Like Abraham Lincoln.
that was an office line.
What is the quote, though? I need something like I need a bullet in the head.
Need to watch this play like I need a bullet in the head.
Abraham Lincoln. But Emily Ebert is our guest today.
Hello.
Our, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth official guest.
Fifth?
Fifth official
It's a
guest.
milestone.
Fifth official.
Fifth official guest.
Fifth official guest.
It is a milestone.
Do I win something?
Yes.
Can't have my kazoo.
There you go.
A almost empty bottle of
He's
water.
been working on that for the past 3 weeks.
I think month.
Month
Ooh,
now?
that
yeah,
makes
that is
it
month-old water.
Yeah.
There's probably plastic bits.
rich with bacteria.
Yeah.
It'll build up your immune system.
This is all
We're doing you a
backwash.
favor.
Some thick water.
We are
It's
doing
chewy.
chewy water. I like my water chewy, just like my OJ.
Oh, man.
Pulp or no pulp for you guys?
I'm a no pulp guy.
Yeah, me too.
I have been no pulp, but with living with my grandparents in Florida for the past 7 months, all they drink is with the pulp. And I tolerate it.
How is the orange juice in Florida? Because the oranges themselves suck because you're getting the last of the litter
Yes.
down in Florida.
Well, it is bottled from the factory that they produce it.
So it's okay.
So it's the same as it is here.
So you were living in Florida for the past 6.5 months, 7 months.
7 months I have, yes.
Doing an internship. Mm-hmm. And we've been dating all the while.
All the while.
Little did you know it.
It was public.
Pretty sure we've referenced it.
Yeah.
At least once or twice. But let's go through the list. What was the worst part of your internship?
Oh, man. The worst part of my internship.
Besides being away from me.
I was going to say, Donnie's waiting for a specific answer. So.
I would say generally just the amount of work. It was very taxing.
Because I remember in talking with you on the phone, it'd be you would go to work, come home, have more work to do basically until bedtime, and then work to do even on the weekends.
Yes.
So you were just constantly working. It was basically school on top of all the work that you were doing, like just regular, like job stuff
Correct.
that went along with that job.
Yes.
So that sucks.
Yeah. It was very, I had like the actual seeing patients part. And then I had like a whole bunch of paperwork that was due every week. And then the big final projects and stuff to do throughout.
Sorry, I could just hear Donnie breathing into the mic.
I notice I do that from time to time because I just like stay here up on the mic, but then I go,
Yeah. That's what was happening. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so paperwork, patient work. But then besides that, like becoming a professional, like transition from student to intern to professional is like a big personal growth as well. So there was a lot of me growth that I had to do as well. That was just emotionally taxing, I think. So it was just a lot of aspects that was just very tiring.
and that's something I said to you at the start of this going in was like, you knew going in it was going to suck and it was going to be difficult. And obviously like the whole moving away from home aspect of it. But I was really stoked for you because I think that a ton of growth comes from circumstances like you were just in. Like when I was in Pittsburgh, I grew so much as a person, being away from home and being independent and on my own and going through tough stuff. Like you got to go through a little bit of thistle before you bloom into a flower.
Yeah. Man, we're really just diving right in at the beginning of this, huh?
Into a whole flower.
What was the most surprising thing about that whole process? Becoming an adult. Which, welcome, it kind of sucks.
Congratulations.
Well, I would not say
Here's your
that.
debt.
Right.
I would not say that the actual moving out part was close to being an adult because I moved in with my grandparents. So like
Sure.
I wasn't like paying rent or like making my own meals even.
Yeah.
But the most surprising thing about the internship growth or about moving away growth?
Both.
The most surprising thing about the internship growth was the fact that, like in school, we were taught that you have your therapist hat and then you have your personal life hat. And when you go into a session, you put on your therapist hat and then you leave and you can put on your personal hat. But internship kind of taught me that there's an in-between area, a gray area, where you have to take part of yourself into you with the session. Because if you're asking the patients to be vulnerable with you, you have to be able to be vulnerable with them. And so there's just a lot of countertransference that you kind of have to work through as a person to be an effective therapist, which I was not anticipating even having to address. So I think that was the most interesting thing about internship that I didn't expect. And then moving away, I kind of knew that I was going to miss my family, but I didn't think I'd miss Ohio as much as I did.
Isn't it funny? Like Ohio sucks.
Yeah.
And then you leave and you're like, I really want to go back to
Ohio's
Yeah.
pretty great. Actually, I think, was it Rod, a person that we know from church, says that most people that grow up and move away from Ohio end up coming back at some point in life. Like either as in like elderly grandparent age or before then to raise kids. A lot of people come back to raise kids.
Yeah.
Like specifically to raise kids in Ohio because they grew up here and they realize Ohio is kind of great actually.
Cost of living's pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially in Columbus. Yeah. Holy cow. An apartment in Columbus versus an apartment in like Pittsburgh or something or freaking Orlando. I looked into studio apartments in Orlando. They're like $1,500 on average. It's ridiculous.
Man.
Can't stand it. And you're over here in a whole house
Yeah.
for less than $1,000 a month.
Yeah. Ohio's great.
Ohio, baby.
That's right.
Come to Ohio. We got all 4 seasons, which is another perk.
True.
Yes. I really, really missed having snow in the winter,
Wow.
which was really surprising because, like, after Christmas and New Year's, snow just turns into just crud on the road, which is just terrible. But the holiday season without snow was really depressing. It was not fun.
I've never done a Christmas not in Ohio, or at least not in a temperate climate.
Yeah, I don't think I have either, actually.
I think it would be super depressing.
It's really confusing, at least for me who's grown up with like winter every winter. Because you walk outside and it's like 60 and sunny and you get in your car and you go to Christmas Eve service. I was like, what is happening?
Also, I think to get back to the missing Ohio part, I think the state that you went to, probably the worst state in all of America.
True.
Florida. Did you encounter any crazy Floridians while you were down there?
Ooh.
Do you have any Florida man stories?
No. I, for the most part, was at my house and then on the train and then at work and then on the train and then home.
Yeah.
So I didn't go like out and do things very often. But no, I mean, I didn't really come across anyone too crazy. I think that just in general, the people on the train are weird. And I don't think that that's a Florida thing.
I think it's a train thing.
Yeah.
Or a public commute thing.
Yeah. I don't think that's Florida specific.
You watch videos of the New York subway and the people that ride those.
Yeah.
Pretty great. Sidebar, talking about commuter people, crazy commuter people. There is, I'm going to say 2 things. And if one's not funny, I'll edit it out and I'll go with the second one.
That's cheating.
The first one is there's a show called the Eric Andre Show. And he just went out and tried to be as weird as possible. And in one, he dressed up in a beekeeper outfit and had like beehives, like the wooden white box ones that you would see. And he carries them onto the subway and then like starts tripping and falling and like drops them, starts freaking out and being like, they're Africanized. And then another crazy commuter thing, but not really crazy commuter. I went on a missions trip my sophomore year of high school. We went to Columbus. And one of the things that we did was like a scavenger hunt through the city. And one of the things we had to do as part of the scavenger hunt was to get on a bus, sit next to a stranger, and ask them questions about the city. And
I think it's hilarious. Just coming from, I know the school that you went to.
Yeah.
In rural Ohio.
Yeah.
It's hilarious that that's one of the things you had to do.
Right.
Like, let's take these kids from the middle of nowhere, go talk to somebody about the city.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
And it was like the worst questions, like, when was the Capitol building built?
This is really genuine, not scripted at all.
Right. And I guarantee you, 10 out of 10 people on that bus had no idea when the Capitol building was built.
Right.
But I sat in the back of the bus, which was a big mistake because the back of like not Greyhound, but regular buses are very noisy. And then I sat next to a person and I can't hear that well. When there's a lot of noise going on, everything just kind of like whooshes together a little bit. But I sat next to somebody and I could not understand what they were saying. And it was just like a lot of what? And then them getting very upset with me. And then me just being like, I think I'm just going to stop talking now. It was pretty traumatic for me, and I'm sure for them as well. They probably still remember that scared little boy that sat down next to them.
Yelling at them on the
What'd you say?
When's the Capitol vote?
I need to know.
There is no captain.
And then another thing we had to do is approach a homeless person in the park and be like, hey, can I pray with you about something? And I was so nervous, and we were going in groups of 2, and we walked up to this picnic table of homeless people, and I was like, hey, is there anything with you that we can pray with you with for? And he was like, what? Never mind. Long story short, school missions trips at my school were a little bit of a joke. Like, they were fine, but especially our Nicaragua trip where we went to Nicaragua, a whole bunch of rich, predominantly white kids. We went to Nicaragua, to a third world country, and sang and danced in front of orphans and at churches that were literally a tarp being held up by a stick.
Why did you sing and dance for them?
I don't know. That's just what...
To rub it in their faces.
Yeah, it really felt like that, man. Like, it really did.
Traveled halfway across the world just to dance in front of you.
Yeah, just to
We
dance.
spent hours on this choreography.
We did. We spent probably 2 hours learning the choreography, and it was very tough.
Who thought that would be helpful?
I don't know, but who was right? I think somebody from our church, Sharon, was writing a paper about the negative effects of short-term mission work like that, like a class going to Nicaragua, where each one of our tickets was like $700, and then plus food and whatever else, like times that by the 25, 30 people that went down, how much money that was and how that money could have been used actually effectively versus us going and dancing and doing skits in front of kids, orphans. We did do one thing that I actually felt of value doing. We delivered like sacks of rice to a shanty village. Like, we hauled like big 50-pound sacks of rice up to families and gave them rice and water. And that I felt good doing. But even that, take my $700 I would have spent on a ticket.
Yeah.
Have some rice, and then like a local can deliver it, you know? So in that regard, I would not go on that trip again, being the mindset I am now. It felt more self-serving than anything else, and a little bit vacation-y when that was.
Well, that's what the one of the colleges I went to, every summer or spring, over spring break, they send a team of students to Ireland, and like, I think somewhere in England too. Anyway, so like, of course, they do all the fundraising stuff. And
is it advertised as a missions trip?
Yes. But then you would have people like posting pictures like at the soccer games and like checking out whatever cliffs are over there.
Yeah.
And they spend like a day in the city, like talking to people over a course of like 10 days.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, to ask people for money for me to go do that, like, that's just like funding a spring break trip,
right?
You know? Yeah, that never sat well with me.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, my cousin went on one of those trips. So sorry, bud.
Thrown.
He listens to this.
Oh, it's okay. I won't say his name just in case he might get offended, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Knows. Yeah. But I don't know. I think if we're talking mission work, I don't know what would be better. Just going out in your community. I think that would be the two things. If you want to do mission work, don't raise money to go to a third world country. You are not needed there, most likely.
I think it depends on what you're doing.
That if you're going to dance,
don't go dance for orphans.
Don't go dance for orphans.
Like if you're going to train them to do something for themselves, I think that's the key.
Yeah. Or if it's like a medical thing.
Yeah.
Like if like Doctors Without Borders, that sort of thing. Totally.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts. being that you've gone to Haiti twice.
Yes, I have been to Haiti twice. I think
It's going to make for an interesting car ride home.
You just slammed her entire.
I will say, I think that our church did a really nice job of making sure our time there was productive. We did a VBS, and the kids from the village came and did crafts, and they had Bible stories, and they had worship. But we also, the first year they were there, they were adding on to their medical facility. And so we helped build part of that. And some of us were sorting medical supplies that they had gotten donated. And then there were a few high schoolers who were going to go to college for nursing. And they actually helped the doctors with their checkups they were doing on the patients from the village.
People that you brought, or the people, high schoolers there?
The people that came for our team. I think there were 2 people on our team that actually were going to go into nursing, and they actually got to go in and help with the clinic. So that was nice. And then the second year we were there, they were making a road through the campsite that we were at to make it more accessible to the smaller village nearby. And it was really, literally, we just made a line from the mountainside to the road, and we passed rocks down and just made a big rocky pathway through the middle of the village, which really does not seem like a lot for us, but for them, it's groundbreaking that they have a road in their village. So I think that was impactful and helpful. We did have a day where we went into the city and saw their market, and we went to the beach and ate seafood on whatever restaurant side of the island. But other than that one day, we had, I think, 2 afternoons during the week that we went and swam with people that came to the VBS throughout the week. They invited us to go out and do stuff, which was cool. But for most of the week, we did do work, which was a sore surprise to some of the people from your school who had been on missions trips. Not like that.
Because they just danced.
Yes. So
I
those
thought we would be dancing?
Yes.
Not moving these rocks.
Yeah. So there were some people from that school who the church mission trip we went on was very different from the mission trips they'd been on. And I think they were not super happy that there was as much work involved as there was. But all in all, would it have been more helpful to just send the money? I'm going to say probably yes, because we literally went and volunteered at a church. There were already people there preaching. So, I mean, we offered help in the construction part, but would money have been more helpful? I'm going to say probably yes.
I think there's kind of a very delicate balance in that. One, yeah, it does kind of all hinge on what you're doing as to whether or not you should go. But 2, I mean, I know a lot of my friends in high school, went on a trip to Haiti or something like that. And it was on that trip that they decided they wanted to go do this full time and work with people full time in a third world country. And that's the opportunity to learn that. Again, it goes back to why you're going in the first place as to whether you should go or not, I think. And 2, I think there is part of it, when people go on a mission trip and you're working with, you're being hosted by whoever's there, obviously. Sometimes for them to be able to show you around is they're excited to do that because I want you to experience and see things. And so I'm not totally against sightseeing on a mission trip because I get that there's that too. But when it's more sightseeing than work, it's all a balance. I think
if you're doing something where you're raising money for your missions trip and a portion, even a small portion, is going to be spent sightseeing, I think that you need to be upfront about that.
True.
I think that something should be said about that. It's not going to be all missions. There's going to be 3 days where we take and we do. and we go around the city or whatever in 2 days.
Go to a soccer game.
Yeah. But also, I totally understand that of people like discovering like, hey, I want to do this full time. There's a kid that I went to school with, did all those missions trips with, that now is a full-time missionary in Costa Rica.
Dance his buns off.
Dancing his buns off. But I don't really know exactly what he does. I just know that he's full-time mission work in Costa Rica. And I think the Nicaragua trip was like his biggest thing of like, I think I want to be down here in this culture doing this. Austin Zerker is his name. I'll throw that out there because I think that'd be fun to say because I think he's doing the Lord's work. But, and surprisingly too, obviously Nicaragua is a Spanish-speaking country, and you had those kids that were like straight A's in Spanish. And then I don't know if Austin was straight A's or not, but for some reason he just like really clicked with being able to speak their language. And like, you know, that you like, we have like conjunctions and stuff that aren't really English that we throw into sentences. And if we talk fast and you don't understand the language, it will be hard to understand. He was able to keep up for the most part with people talking super fast. And it was very cool to see. And then other people who were straight A Spanish students, like, I can hardly understand anything that's happening. And then there was people like me that failed out of Spanish, and I took 1 year and got an F and didn't take any more classes. And then I had no idea what was going on.
I took 3 years of Spanish.
Yeah.
Spanish 1 twice. And then I moved to Ohio for my senior year. And somebody thought, like when I transferred into West Holmes, they saw that I had 2 Spanish 1s, and I passed both ones. I didn't fail the first one, but I got like a D minus. Like I'm barely scraped by. And so I was like, there's no way I can go Spanish 2. So somebody, whenever they were looking at my transcripts, thought that one of them was supposed to be Spanish 2. Because like, why would I retake it if I passed it? So they put me in Spanish 3.
Oh no.
Yeah. So the new kid, who, like, I walk in and they are just strictly speaking Spanish, and they have no textbooks because I guess that's how Ohio does it. And like the whole
had a textbook.
What's that?
I always had a textbook, but go ahead.
But maybe it was just West Holmes. But they were very big on no textbooks. Like, it was weird. So because I guess they want you to hear it and stuff, which is great if you understood what they were saying. I was just like, I don't know. So
did you ever get called out in that class?
I don't think I only was at West Holmes for like 3 or 4 days. So.
Oh yeah. Then you went to homeschooling.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, by the way, I found out that school that I went to.
The homeschool?
Well, it's not really homeschool. It's through like a school in Columbus.
You know,
Your
my
house?
house.
At home. But like my
That
mom
lady.
wasn't teaching me like a stereotypical homeschooler.
Right. Online.
So apparently they don't exist anymore. And
that school system.
that school, yeah.
Okay.
And I lost my copy of my diploma. I have no idea where to get one.
No.
Yeah. So.
You have no proof.
But I do have like college transcripts, so I did get like into college because I graduated high school.
But what if you tried to go to college again and they're like, hey, we need to see that diploma?
I've never had them ask me for a diploma, but yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. So I think I sent an email to like the Ohio Department of Education, and they never got back to me. I was like, what do I do here? Because...
So moral of this story is you did not graduate high school.
Probably not. Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It only took me like a couple months to do. So I only had 3 classes. I had government, physical science, which is a class I took in 8th grade in Indiana, and English.
Wow.
So my government one, I've like, cause you could work ahead cause you kind of like at your own pace kind of. I finished that one in 3 weeks for the whole thing.
Wow.
Because I loved government. But
Man, I wish I would have done homeschool.
But English, I was like racing at the very end to get it all done because I just pushed it all off. So.
Did you do gym or anything?
No. They did have like a gym course online, but I didn't need it. So I didn't.
What would you do? Jumping jacks and stuff?
Just like run around in the yard and
Dodgeball by yourself?
I
throw it up in the air.
I petitioned my high school to do independent study phys ed so I wouldn't have to take gym at school.
did you like?
What is
Were you able to do that?
Yeah, they let me do it.
What'd you do?
So half of it, I went to Smithville High School during the summer, and it was a 2-week thing. And the first week, we like sat in a classroom and like learned about the rules of bowling and like just dumb stuff like that. And then the second week,
Tell me one rule of bowling.
knock the pins over.
She gotcha.
But the second week was basically field trips the whole time. So they like took us bowling and took us to the pool. And
Remember all those bowling rules that you learned? Now it's time to put them to use.
yeah, so we like went out and did the sports. And then the second half of my credit was I had to keep a journal of all the physical activity I did during the summer.
1,000 push-ups every day.
So like
Walk to the mailbox.
my dad like taught me how to play ping pong, and I like journaled about playing ping pong with my dad.
I'd love to read those journals.
Right?
And then I turned it in, and then I didn't have to take gym in high school.
Man,
I think I only had to take 1 year,
I
the
took
freshman year.
I took gym every single year, and I think my junior year and my senior year, I had 2 gyms back to back every day. But gym was a blast in my high school. We did like badminton
Yeah.
and
you
killer death ball, which was a game we made up.
Christian school.
Yeah.
I almost asked if you had a swimming unit, but then I remembered where you went.
Yeah. I went to a school that had 250 kids, kindergarten through 12th grade, and I had the biggest graduating class of 16 children.
Children.
So not a lot of kids there. Not a lot of funding,
Yeah.
especially for a pool.
Yeah.
If we were to have a swim team, it would have been like a kiddie pool outside that we filled up with some water.
Did you have separated guys and girls gym?
No, we had co-ed gym.
Wow.
We had separated until like 8th grade, and then it became co-ed in high school.
That's so weird. Ours was opposite. We were all together through like middle school, and then once you hit high school, you separated.
Why?
I don't know. I loved the high school gym though, like being separated.
Mm.
I don't know why. It was a lot more fun. I think it's because you could be more competitive.
Mm.
Like dodgeball got pretty intense.
Yeah.
We did like badminton and ping pong, and we did a football unit. We did a tennis unit.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Swimming sucked. It was the worst.
What did you not like about it?
That since my older sister was like a
Oh,
state champion, national champion stuff, they just assumed I was really good at swimming, and I was not.
I can cannonball.
I about drowned playing water polo, which is the dumbest game ever.
Do you have to tread?
Yes.
How do you do that?
You play in the deep end, and I'm like struggling just to stay alive and get hit in the face with a ball.
Benter, pick it up.
Right? Yeah. And then like just the awkwardness of being in high school at that time as a freshman. And then they made you shower afterwards, which is, I mean, probably a good thing, but like the shower is just a big open, couple heads, up at the top. And so all the high school boys being super awkward, like, yeah.
Fun fact, I was considering the military for like a long time in like middle school. Yeah, my knees, my body.
Your tendons.
My body failed me.
Drop and give me 20. Okay, just give me a minute to get down there.
Once I'm down there, I can bust them out, but just don't expect me to get up quickly. But one of my main deterrents for joining the military was I would have to shower with other guys.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to do it. I don't want other guys to see the spot.
When I went to vocational school, anytime my instructor was gone for the day, instead of just bringing the substitute teacher, they brought in like military recruiters.
Oh no.
Which kind of made sense because like it was a law enforcement class, and stereotypically like the kids who go to vocational school, like that'd be a good option for them. But you would think that it was like super strict or whatever. Like they were worse than just giving us a sub. Like one day we watched Dirty Harry.
Great movie.
Yeah, because they were like, it's kind of a cop movie. So
You'll learn some things.
although in that class also we watched, is it The Godfather?
Nice.
I think it was The Godfather.
Nice.
Like as part of like a unit in that class.
To learn about crime bosses.
Yes.
Wait, did you watch the first Godfather or the second?
I think we watched both actually. It was
Or
like
the third. You probably didn't watch the third because the third
Yeah, I
is
don't-
not that great.
yeah, but it was an interesting time in my life.
Huh.
It was fun. I actually really enjoyed the law enforcement side of it at vocational school.
Yeah. We had a forensic science class at Kingsway where I went, and I loved it. We did this one thing where we split the class in half, and each half made a crime scene, and then we switched, and you had to like figure out like what happened in the other group's crime scene.
Like Clue.
You like Clue, yeah. But we did like blood splatter and had like fake bodies lying there with bullet holes in them. I think I've said on the podcast before, I made a cocaine station with like a scale
Oh, yeah.
and bags of powder, and my principal said it looked a little too real. But I was very proud
counseling.
I was very proud of it. But it was awesome. Like doing the blood splatter stuff. I loved it.
Yeah.
We watched a pig decay. Like we bought a dead pig and set it out in the field and watched it. Yeah. We would go out every day and be like, okay, so the stomach is bloating. And then the next day, okay, the stomach popped, burst. And because pig skin is like 99%, like a 0.% away from being human skin, pretty much. It's the closest thing that we have.
That's why we can use their valves.
Yeah. Yep. Pig heart. Get a pig heart in you. Pig liver. That's been done.
Gross.
Yeah. But it decays at the same rate as a human body. So if you ever want to know how long it takes to decompose a human body, buy a dead pig and then figure it out from there. Basically what I'm saying is you need somebody to kill somebody for you. I know what you should do. Hit me up.
Fair.
I can give you some pointers.
Oh, boy.
And Pudge knows what not to do. He knows how to catch you.
That's right.
So don't do this, don't do this, don't do this.
Yes.
He knows how to.
I watched Dirty Harry. I can get you. I do have a certificate
From
that vocational school,
cop school.
from cop school.
These are my awards from military. From army.
From Army. So, what's your plan, Emily?
My plan?
Yeah.
Sleep. Unpack. Eat some food. That's about it at this point.
Fair.
I think you need like at least a week or two of just decompress.
Chilling.
Yeah.
Chill.
I've got my college diploma's in the mail currently on its way to me.
Whoop whoop.
So I'm officially college graduate, which is fantastic. Internship is done. So now before I can apply for jobs, I have to pass my board certification exam. So most of my time is going to be spent studying for that. And then hopefully I'll pass the first time because it's expensive to take.
I see lots of helping with flashcards in my future.
The point of internship is that hopefully coming out of it, you
won't
have all
need
the knowledge.
flashcards.
Well, because
She
it's
knows it
not,
all.
it's the test is not a lot of flashcard material. It's more like situational of like, this is what's happening. What do you do? So it's not really one of those that you can like study flashcards for. It's a little more complicated than that, I guess. But after I pass that, I can apply for jobs. But right now I'm like kind of in a rut where I'm like, I can't really do anything until I pass the test. So
Yeah.
well, that's where I'm at.
A kind of crappy place to be, I guess. That like in between stage of I was doing this and now I'm in between and waiting on the next facet of life.
And I think that typically that would scare me. I think that I really like to have a plan and I've got a calendar that's really detailed. But I think that coming out of such,
She's a list person.
I am a huge list person. I love lists. I love calendars.
And if you've been listening to this podcast for any length of time, you know that Pudge and I are not list people.
Nope. My wife is also a list person.
But I think that is
How do you guys make it work?
Um,
I'm sorry. The face I got.
was that for interrupting you? Or?
That was for interrupting.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I was talking.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue your thing.
I was saying that I think
Yes.
that's typically how the world should work, is that every non-list person needs a list person in their life.
I will say it does make my life easier.
Yeah. I was actually just telling Allie this the other night. I've become significantly more responsible since getting married to her. I keep a calendar now. Well, I kind of do.
So do I.
Yeah. Like mostly it's a shared calendar. And so she's putting things on it so I can just see it. So
Google
I
calendar.
don't know if I keep it more so just look at it.
But you at least look at it.
I do.
That's a step in the right direction.
Yep. But also, she also said too that like she's also kind of relaxed some, which has been nice for her.
We've also had this conversation.
Yeah, we were talking about this. I think on our trip home, we drove up from Florida. Man, what a drive. But
It was a long drive.
I think that was one of the conversations, and we've had it, I think, a few times before, of like, we're very opposite people in that I'm, like, if we're talking about lists, like I'm a no plans at all sort of person. Like I'm going on like a week-long trip. I'm packing the morning of, and if I forget something, I forget something. Whoops.
That stresses me out.
Right.
The thing is, there's always a Walmart around.
Right.
I'm the type of person who, like, I make a list of the things that I'm going to need to pack like a week before I start packing.
How far in advance do you start packing?
It depends on the occasion. For a trip that I'm going on, like maybe 3 days before.
See, my thing, I don't have enough clothes to pack that far in
Right.
advance.
If I do that in advance, I'm not going to have enough underwear.
Exactly. Break out my reserves.
Do you have reserve backup underwear?
They're like super holy and like as in they have holes in them, not that they're holy.
They've been blessed. By the Pope.
Yes.
I have my backup because now I'm a boxer brief guy. Best decision
Changed
I've
your
ever
life.
made. Best decision I've ever made,
Yep.
aside from asking Emily to be my girlfriend. But
I don't really like to be compared with underwear. I think that those should be two separate decisions.
that's a fair statement.
But you never mind. I'm not go ahead.
But I have still my old boxers, and I've occasionally had to bust out a reserve pair.
That's so hard.
What was I doing my entire
Right?
life?
They like ride and bunch.
They
and-
ride up, they bunch up, I chafe.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here, guys? Why are we wearing boxers? It's 2019. Get some boxer briefs on your buns.
That's right. I can't do are they just briefs, the little tidy
No.
whities? What are-
They're boxer briefs.
No, I mean like the tidy whities, are they just called briefs?
I think, yeah.
I can't do those.
No, I couldn't do those.
That's
haven't
where
done those
I would
since
rather
was,
do
like-
boxers than
I haven't done those since I was like 6, and I wouldn't want to try those again.
no. There's just
That'd be a nightmare.
you're just like
Yeah.
too much support.
Too much. Too much. There's a point where it becomes too much.
Yes.
Boxer briefs, right down the middle.
Let me do my thing.
I'm so sorry we've been talking about this. For
You know, I don't mind not being a part of this conversation. I have no input.
Fair.
But to go back to what we were saying, the conversation that we've had a few times before is she's a very organized, very detailed person. I'm very much not that. But I feel like we've both kind of given some ground, but in a healthy way. Like she's made me a little bit more organized, a little bit more future focused. And I've made her just a little bit more relaxed on certain things in a healthy way on both sides.
Yeah.
And I think that's good.
Another example, one of your very dear listeners, Carol.
Oh, Carol.
Hey,
Totally
Carol
a list person, 1000% a list person. I bonded with her over the fact that we are list people. And I don't know Paul that well, but I'm going to go out on a limb
Paul is her husband.
and say he's probably not a list guy.
He is not.
He does not strike me as a list person.
What's funny is Carol, for backstory, for a few years was she wasn't my administrative assistant, but she worked in my department at the church I work at. And she was like the backbone of keeping everything together because she was such an organized, detailed, focused person, because I'm not. And like Autumn, who works for me, is also the same way as Carol. So it's nice, but it was funny. I think I learned a lot about that working with Carol, because like she started working for me before I got married or anything, about how like I didn't realize how opposite of that I was until I was like working directly with someone who would point it out to me and like constantly remind me of things, and I get so mad because I actually forgot and she was being helpful, but I didn't want to admit that I forgot. So thanks, Carol.
Good old Carol.
What would we do without Carol?
We wouldn't know half the stuff that we would go unchecked on this podcast. No one would correct us. I have gotten, since I started freelancing, I work for a slew of different companies, and I got a big sticky, it's like a big giant sticker that's a wall calendar.
Look at you.
Yeah, because I have to keep everything.
Is that where you write Donnie or Don?
I should.
Or
I
Donald?
actually could. I should do that, because that would solve me having to go check back through emails.
Yeah,
what
it
name
would.
am I for this company? Should I just send out like a mass email to all the companies like, hey, I'm going by this now?
That would solve your problem.
Change it to something like Greg or something. But like I had to devise something to keep it all organized. And that was a you suggestion, Emily, of
Yes.
helping me to keep my ish together. And that was what I landed on, was a big sticker that you stick on your wall that's like the size of a big poster. And it's dry erase, and it came with a whole bunch of little markers, and I can pencil in like all the days of the month, and then what deadlines I have due on what days and what projects I have coming up. And there's room on the side for, these are all the companies I work for, and these are the projects I have going on. So it's very nice, and it's all just right there in front of me, which I think is very helpful.
I was very proud.
It was a big moment for me.
That picture. And now I'm trying to get him to keep track of, this is how many hours I worked for this company. This is how much they paid me. This is how many hours I worked for this company. This is how much they paid me. Because working independently for that many companies, you need to keep track of that stuff.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it.
I keep my pay stubs for tax purposes.
Taxes might be a nightmare for you.
I'm just going to take it to a tax guy. It's literally going to be a
this.
box.
I'm just
It's going to be
saying.
a box of
Things I don't want to deal with.
A simple a spreadsheet that you just enter weekly.
I do
would just
pay
solve
for
you-
Microsoft Word. I think I have the spreadsheet.
That should be a write-off, right?
Paying. Oh, sorry. Totally.
Yeah.
Man, we should do some lunches, and I'll
Business
Right off.
lunches
right up, buy a new car. I need it to commute to work.
at your house.
My house.
Just go out and move it in the driveway a little bit. You're good.
It's for those business lunches.
Yeah.
Have a parking spot for when you're at work. A parking spot.
I'll get one of those like cement things.
Yes.
Spray paint my name on it.
Justified. Business expense.
You don't have one of those things, neither do you. A concrete slab with your name on it to where you get to park.
I do not.
Do either of you, is that a goal that you would like to have in life? Your own designated parking spot at a place of employment? Do you feel like that would be success in some small way, some small
No.
petty way?
I mean, it wouldn't be a goal in terms of success for me.
Mhm.
It would be a goal if parking was limited.
Yeah. Sure.
Man, it'd be great if I had a parking spot in this. No, I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't until this very moment. I mean, my dad's office has those things. And I've always just seen it as like, this is just a anger problem, like frustration just waiting to happen when somebody parks in my spot.
Yeah.
And
And
it's like,
resentment if you don't have a spot.
right. And like, why do I really care?
Mhm.
It's, if I don't get to park here, I have to walk 10 extra feet. And then that's just going to be something that I get upset about
It's better for you.
to not have it.
Like better for your health to walk 10
To
more
walk the
steps.
10 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. In some small way.
Yeah. Every little bit counts.
Yeah. I was going to go do cardio today, but I didn't get around to it at the gym. But I'm helping my cousin move tomorrow.
That makes 5 years now.
Hey, now.
We'll try again tomorrow.
I went to the gym last week
Did you do any cardio?
No. But my heart rate did go up.
His tendons.
Okay, I just need to tell the
My
story.
joints.
We were in Nashville
Yes.
this past, 2 or 3 days ago.
Sure.
Luckily, our hotel had a shuttle that took us like right into the city, so it was great. But on the way back, we decided, it's not that far a walk. Like, we can just walk.
There was a walking bridge that went across this little river.
Yeah, which the walk itself was not bad at all.
No.
To get
Little
up to the bridge to go across the river, there was maybe 5 flights of stairs. Maybe 5.
That's a lot of stairs.
And by the time we got to the top of the stairs, he was like, oh, can we just pause for a minute before we go any further? We had to stop halfway across the bridge so that he could like take a breath.
I thought I was having a heart attack. Bacon's
Catching up to you.
When I used to do a pack of bacon every single day, just about for supper.
Bed steak.
Just a whole pack of bacon.
Totally interchangeable.
It was all that bed steak.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. But I had you feel my heart.
Yeah.
It was like boom, 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 boom.
He was not exaggerating, and I don't know if that's better or worse. Like, I don't know if it's better if you were being dramatic or if it would have been better
I was
that
not being dramatic.
I know you're not.
I legit thought that something might be wrong. So basically, long story short, I'm going to be hitting the gym, doing some cardio. Not just lifting weights, but doing cardio.
That wasn't even we didn't even walk up the stairs quickly.
You should have seen the stairs. It was cardio.
It was like 4 flights of stairs.
It was probably,
a normal walking pace.
I would say it was at least 10 stories equal worth of stairs.
It was like 4 flights of
A
stairs.
miniature skyscraper at the least.
Lies.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I also had a little bit to drink prior to the stairs, and I think that might have played a factor.
Of water.
Yes, of water. Wink, wink, wink.
No winks. There was no alcohol involved.
But I had some beverages that I think might have affected my cardio at that point. But either way, I need to get back in shape desperately. my hand motion. Piano fingers. This is why we need a video podcast.
I was thinking about that the other day or yesterday. How like we could easily just like stream to YouTube while we do this on Thursday nights.
Totally.
And I don't know if anybody will watch, but in these references, we would have
Piano hands.
piano hands.
You don't know what piano hands is because you're not watching the podcast.
That's right.
Think about how you would play a piano.
But dramatically.
That's what the hands look like.
All wrists. Just
Completely all wrists.
Slap your fingers down on the table, all wrists. And that's how I said I need to work out desperately. Which I do. So, Emily, I'm stoked that you're back in town
Thanks.
for obvious reasons. Because you're my babe and I missed you.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's weird to call you Emily. Because my main phrase for you is babe.
It's the same thing with Allie.
Yeah.
It's weird to call her Allie.
Yeah. Is it weird to hear me say Emily?
Yes, but I prefer the way you say it over the way Jordan says it.
Emily?
Yeah.
Say it?
I've had
Emily?
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 Emily.
This is like a spoon situation.
Here we go.
I've had this conversation. There are people that say my name Emily. Emily. And then you and Pape and I feel like just people from Indiana, I don't know why, say my name like with an I at the
Emily?
beginning.
Emily.
Emily.
Well, how am I supposed to say it?
Emily.
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 Yes, like that.
Emily.
Yeah.
Yes, not Emily.
I will switch to Emily.
Just like that every time.
Yes.
Just don't call her babe.
Oh, we have a dilemma that we were talking about in the
yeah, I
car
forget
that
what it is
we needed a
entirely.
third party on. It's not scary.
Yes, I can be. Okay, good.
What?
Nothing. I can cast judgment. Let's do it.
So, breakfast foods.
Yes.
Oh, I remember this conversation.
Yes. We specifically stopped talking about it so that we could talk about it right now.
I did the whole hush your butt thing. You gotta save it for the podcast.
Yeah. So one opinion here is that you have cereal for breakfast and that's your breakfast. Or you have bacon, eggs, toast, pancakes, and that's your breakfast. Two separate breakfast options.
Okay.
The other option is that breakfast in general could be cereal with bacon or cereal with eggs or
with
cereal
toast.
and toast.
I'm a
So-
combined cereal with everything kind of guy. Bacon,
I don't think you were
eggs.
supposed to tell me that.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to tell him.
Oh.
I was trying to cast an impartial judgment.
Oh, now it's not going to be partial.
No.
Shoot, I've ruined this whole thing.
There's no going back now.
I'm sorry.
So the argument being, is cereal a standalone thing?
Like, if you're going to have cereal, would you also have bacon with cereal?
Bacon and toast.
Well, see, my thing is, if I'm having cereal, it's because like I don't want to spend the time making something, and so I wouldn't make something else. If it was already made for me, I would definitely eat bacon with my cereal. But like, chances are, I'm not gonna like make it.
But if you were having bacon, would you be like, oh man, I could really use some Cheerios with this?
Probably not. Yeah. Well, also like I wouldn't be just making bacon. Like if I was making bacon, I would have.
You're
like,
not living life right, man.
I know. But I would have like eggs or something. And like that point, I spent the time making it. I'm going to have a nice breakfast. Cereal is not a nice breakfast to me.
Correct.
It's true. I don't think I've eaten cereal as a breakfast in 15 years.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had a bowl of cereal before 8 p.m. in the past 15 years. To me, it is a midnight snack food
I get on kicks
of cereal.
of cereal. Like right now, I haven't had cereal in probably the last year and a half, but
Probably better. For
Kicks, like you like the cereal kicks?
no, sorry. Like
what is your go-to cereal?
Okay, so here's my favorite cereal is Cocoa Puffs, like the round ones.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I'm a snob. It's got to be like the Cocoa Puff brand.
Can't be off-brand.
No, it can't be off-brand because it tastes different. Or like the Cocoa Crisp things. Like, yeah.
I love Cocoa Crisp. That's
too
my main.
small.
That's
But-
my main cereal.
So as a kid,
They talk to you. Crackle pop.
as a kid, I loved Cocoa Puffs or Cocoa Pebbles. I don't know what they call it, but we were so poor that like we never like that was like a luxury item. And one time, we also had a dog growing up. One time, my older sister had a piece of dog food because they were round and they were brown that looked like Cocoa Puffs.
Uh-oh.
And she was like, Jordan, like, I found a Cocoa Puff. You want it? And I was like,
Loose Cocoa Puff.
yeah. Which didn't even register in my head at the time. I was like, she found a Cocoa Puff. I was like, yeah. And she fed me dog food. And it was salty and gross. And it kind of scarred me a little bit. But that's my go-to is Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs. Nice. What about you?
I don't have one cereal. It depends what mood I'm in. I dig some Lucky Charms. I
Gotta
dig
love Lucky
some
Charms.
Frosted Flakes.
Are you a save all the marshmallows?
Absolutely.
Totally.
Because I don't like it when they're crunchy. It feels like chalk on my teeth. You have to let them get a little mushy.
That's fair. Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Ooh.
I don't get what the big deal about it is. Like, it's good.
Or
sure.
is it French Toast Crunch?
It's Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Well, there's two of them. I'm trying to
There
remember
is a
which
French
one.
toast.
I think it's a French toast one I really like.
I think I would like that better than the
Which is-
Cinnamon Toast.
I don't like French toast in real life, but the fake kind. I don't like anything you put syrup on.
Really?
Yeah,
What's
in
wrong with
general.
you?
I don't like syrup.
You can put syrup on anything.
But like the traditional, you put syrup on. Like pancakes, waffles.
Sausages.
That's not traditional.
I don't think anyone ever put syrup on their
It
sausage.
just happens to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's always good. It's always a happy accident. You're never mad about it.
Like I get mad about it.
Well, you would because you don't like syrup, apparently. You're a monster.
It's too sweet.
Really? Okay. All right. Have you ever had homemade syrup?
I like that less than store-bought syrup.
You had the homemade syrup that my neighbor made?
Yeah.
You
It's
didn't
like
like
from
it?
the tree, or
Yeah, he taps his trees and then he like has it looks like a moonshiner's hut, like a moonshiner's distillery. And he like you burn it in like a big cauldron, like a witch or something. And you gotta like scrape off all the impurities every like 2 hours or so, and you gotta cook it for like 20 hours, and you only get like a little bit out of a large amount. But it's super good. It's very watery though. It's not thick.
That's why I don't like it. Because it doesn't like, it just makes everything soggy.
Yeah. Well, that's my whole. I don't like pancakes if they're too dry.
too fluffy.
Too fluffy makes me want to throw up.
Can you water them down a bit for
Yeah,
me?
I like to have them very soggy.
It's much
I like to drink my pancakes.
Pretty much, yeah.
gross.
Pretty much. Mashed potatoes, sometimes I can't handle.
What?
Makes me want to throw up.
Why?
The fluffiness.
Oh.
That does not make any sense.
No.
Mashed potatoes and pancakes are not the same consistency.
No.
This is true.
One
You're not wrong.
is held together. The other will.
Well, they're about the same consistency.
No,
Mashed
you're
potatoes
definitely not.
are thrice chewed pancakes. You put a pancake in your mouth, you chew it 3 times. That's the consistency of a mashed potato.
Yeah, but the beginning consistency is not.
I'm in agreement on that. But after it's been in your mouth a while.
Yeah, but that's not the normal judge of consistency.
Mm-hmm.
It's how it starts.
Right. But my problem is after it's been in my mouth for a little bit,
That's anything.
sometimes I have a hard time swallowing it because it gets too fluffy and chewy.
That's backwards.
Huh?
You're putting it together in your mouth?
Nah, what?
When you eat something,
Right.
your saliva makes it more compact.
Oh.
You break it down.
Oh. Well, that's not what happens to me with mashed potatoes.
Put mashed potatoes in, pancake comes out. I don't know.
I don't know, guys. I'm just trying to live my life. Trying not to throw up while I eat mashed potatoes. Or pancakes that are too dry.
That's interesting.
My neighbor also makes homemade honey. Raises bees. Oh my goodness.
That's good.
Holy cow.
I have some that you should try before you leave.
Okay, what kind is it?
It's Jed's dad's. But it's like he'd made it a little bit differently or something.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Nice. Is it real grainy?
I don't think so.
I like grainy honey. I'm a fan.
No.
I thought you were weird about.
Textures.
Yeah, old certain textures.
I like a little grit in my honey,
Yeah. I like soupy
but don't
mashed potatoes.
fluff my pancakes.
I like soggy mashed potatoes, or soggy pancakes, soupy mashed potatoes, and gritty honey. Get off my back about it. You want to fight me? Then fight me. All right. We won't fight. You guys can just stare at me awkwardly. Well, you want to wrap this up?
Let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, it's been great having you.
Thanks. It's about time. I'm going to be honest.
She's been in my ear for a long time about when am I going to be on the podcast?
You have yet to call back during the podcast since the last incident.
Oh, yeah.
This is true.
She called me and I hung up. And then she got mad because in like the next episode, Corey called and I picked up for him.
I don't think that it was necessarily that you hung up on me and picked up for him. I just think it was the fact that I called, you looked at your phone and went, and hung up. Corey called, you looked at your phone and went, Corey, I love you, buddy.
I don't know how to respond to this.
It's pretty accurate.
I know.
That's pretty much what you did.
I think what it is I'm just a horrible person. And I'm sorry. I would like to publicly apologize, even though I already apologized probably 5 times. I would like to publicly apologize and say that I'm sorry. I love you. I made a big mistake, a crucial mistake. And I think if blame should be cast, it should be cast on Pudge for not pushing me in the right direction and giving me the fatherly advice that I've come to expect from him.
True.
So
Pretty much a dad.
yeah, pretty much. Also, I'd like to point out that we're both Pudge and I are both wearing the same hats.
This is a solid hat, by the way.
Right? It's
Yeah.
a dope hat.
I did not get a hat. Yet again, pushed to the side.
I think.
I also do not have a kazoo.
Well, you haven't been here. I bought the kazoos while you were away. And I spent $20. I can't afford any more. I've maxed out my kazoo money.
It's fine.
But I think that coming into a relationship with either Pudge or I, like you coming into this relationship should have known, and Allie coming into a relationship with you should have known there is a bond here that cannot be broken, that sometimes will be awkward for the two of you, Emily and Allie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
I've experienced that. I knew about the bond between the two of you, but I just didn't realize how it was going to affect the bond between us.
I'm the wedge now?
You are the wedge in this relationship.
But I don't think it's because you wedge yourself in. I think it's because he caters to you
I don't care.
before he caters to me.
In one
Who did you
instance.
bring the hat to?
It was for him. My dad brought these 2 hats home. He said, here's a new hat for you and also one for Pudge. I couldn't betray
Thanks, Matt.
my father.
It's fine. I'm not actually that mad about it. I don't wear hats.
We just had a whole conversation today about how she doesn't like to wear hats.
Yeah, we did. At this point, I just
And now
like
I'm
to
being
point it out.
attacked.
I just think it's interesting.
Well, this will be a great car ride home. But thank you for being on, finally. Don't forget to sign our table. We always have our guests forget to sign our table.
I'll sign it.
So
Thanks for having me.
yeah.
Do I get to kazoo this week?
Actually, Emily's going to kazoo. Unless you both want to kazoo at the same time.
We could.
A dual kazoo, slow jam it.
Yep.
And then I'll do all the extra stuff. Well, we want to thank you guys so much for joining the You're My Friend and I Trust You podcast. It's a podcast. You can find us on Back Row Radio on the Back Row Radio app every Friday morning at whatever time we air on there. I forget at this point. Or you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or wherever else you get your podcasts. You can find us on Twitter at MyFriendPodcast at twitter.com. We sometimes tweet funny stuff. Sometimes we tweet stuff about episodes not airing because we were too lazy to record that week. Or you can email us at itrustyoupodcast@gmail.com. Email us your questions. We'll answer them live on the air on You're My Friend and I Trust You podcast. Also, we've been trying to raise money for almost a year for the it's a charity called Compassion International. What it is, they raise money for widows and orphans. They make wells. They support the less fortunate people, and we think that's a great thing. If you go on their website, they're doing a ton of awesome stuff for a lot of people around the world. We want to raise $500 for them. If we do that, then Pudge and I will run a 5K. But here's the thing. We've been doing it for a while and don't have a ton of money, so I'm going to have to shut it down at the end of June. So you have till the end of June to donate, and then if it fails, we will just refund the money to everybody or just send it to Compassion, the little that we do have. But you can find that at GoFundMe at You're My Friend and I Trust You 5K for Compassion, or just look at the description of this episode and you will see the link straight to that where you can donate and be a good person. Thank you so much for listening. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode with the very beautiful, very lovely, very pale-skinned Emily Ebert, guest number 5. Thank you so much for listening. Tune in next week as we discuss the qualms of the week, maybe do 30-second opinions, and also wear cool hats. Thank you very much. We love you. Bye-bye.
Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and